Miss Latifah, are you a queen? I think you are, but it begins with a D. There's an R and an A and a G. Sorry, honey, you ain't fooling me. Hi friends, welcome back, and today we'll be taking a look at Queen Latifah. Now here we take a look at the bones, the skeletons of public figures to help crack and crumble these illusions they've cast upon us and lift the veil and the scales from our eyes. Please do not show hate to anyone anywhere for any reason. We do not know these people, therefore we definitely do not hate them. Okay, get it together. All right, so I wish I knew what this symbol meant. I know it means something because that is such an awkward way to hold your hands, but I don't know. So anyways, so upon first glance, this one does not look too difficult to tell. And, you know, I kind of agree with that. But upon really looking at some of her features and stuff, she really doesn't have as many prominent traits as many of the other women we look at here, okay? But we can see that she kind of does have the wide set eyes. So prior to making this video, I didn't know anything about her heritage or lineage or anything like that, but in her younger days, she really pushed the African American narrative. And again, here, I mean, there's so many pictures of her doing this, but don't jump down my throat just yet. Let me explain to you why I say this. So she says she's primarily African American and has roots in Southern Virginia, and it says that her ancestors were free people of color, and she actually has white great-grandparents. So as far as we know, and I looked a little bit further back, there is nothing from Africa. Now, this narrative has been pushed on the masses, and I do believe that, like, of course, many people believe they're from Africa because that's the story we've been told. But look at these distinguished men of color from the 1800s. And 22 African Americans served in Congress during the 1800s. And here is some of them. So, not saying anything against her or anyone who, you know, believes they came from Africa, but like most African American people in America are from America. So once you get really deep into the the seeking of truth, you start realizing this, that they are, you know, most people are ancestors are indigenous to here, and that a lot of the what we've heard about the war and everything is a lot of propaganda. It's incredibly damaging to the consciousness for people to believe that they were once slaves. Okay, so anyways, just you can look into this for yourself. Maybe I'm not the right person to speak on this, but it is important to understand that we've been lied to about everything. So I guess I'm just asking the question, by dressing like this, was this part of her role to further push division? Or, you know, did she believe this lie as well? I don't know. But anyways, do your own research, okay? Here we got some one-eye symbolism. This is like a mixing of like different cultures, because some of this is very Egyptian and even kind of Persian looking. Would love to know what this symbolism means. But again, here we can see those wide set eyes. She's got that dual nature, baby. They're always telling us. She kind of has a longer necktie area. Not the longest we've seen, but her skull, you know, it's not super blocked off. Like it, you know, it can be a bit tricky, as I was saying earlier. Here's one of her album covers, Order in the Court, Queen Latifah. Well, which courts is she in? Because it doesn't look like the courts of heaven. And, you know, there are hierarchies in the heavens and in the lower demonic realms. So it looks like she might be in the court of hello. In this photo, we can see a bit more of the angular jawline, although it might just be the shadow. But look at those super angular cheekbones. Not a lot of brow ridge going on, and a pretty flat forehead, okay? Which is not what we usually see on these women. So again, why I was saying that earlier. Now, as she got older, she really did switch up her style and started going for more of that girl boss look, you know, but really looking lovely. Her arm hangs straight down by her side. We're beginning to see some straight, long clavicle bones. And she does kind of have a larger skull, but it's just not super blocky. Again, with the wide set eyes, they actually look quite deep set here as well. And in this photo, we can see the straight clavicle bones a little more. Now, hers are kind of hard to see, okay? She does have a little bit more meat on the bones, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. I think she carries it quite well. And again, here with the straight clavicle bones, but in this photo, we can really see those broad, squared off shoulders. She also has that really short forehead. Again, with the long, straight arms. Her skull's looking a bit blockier as she gets older, as do they all. You've got male digit ratio. Okay, so shorter index finger than the ring finger. Now, I've done a video called 5-Finger Discount if you want to go check that out. So don't get freaked out, ladies, if your index finger is shorter than your ring finger. You know, it can happen. It is just one of the traits. It is not a determining factor. Gait is always key. I'll say it a million times. Well, hello. Nice to greet you. I had no idea you were going to pop up in the video today. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I guess this information is just not for you. Or you could maybe, you know, take a closer look. And this is just a zoomed out version of that picture. A little better quality, I guess. So here we can see she does have that stick straight spine, okay? There's no curving at the top or at the bottom. And again here with the stick straight spine. Actually, I think this photo makes it a little easier to see that it is indeed stick straight. Uh-oh, we got a toy soldier on our hands. Plenty of spacing between the two walking sticks. There is no crissing, no crossing. Knees punching forward. And again here. And she's making sure to let us know of her dual nature. You can see it really well here with that knee punching forward. They sure do love to stand like that. Many of these pictures, she has started to look like Oprah. So I don't really have time to go into all of them, but this is one of them, which Oprah has changed so much, doesn't even look like the same person anymore. And I have covered Oprah in a video called Trouble in TV Land. It's part 1 if you want to go check that out. So let's take a look at some symbolism. Well, here, this is just some interesting hair looking like a snake wrapped around her head. So snakes have really been demonized, but they actually represent wisdom and transformation because, you know, they shed their skin, so they're not evil. Now, pure knowledge is Lucifer. That's the Luciferic impulse because divine wisdom is always tempered with love. So Lucifer is without love. So snakes have really been demonized for obvious reasons, but they actually represent wisdom and transformation, okay, because they shed their skin. So Lucifer is represented as a snake sometimes, but that he will bring you, if you tap into that Luciferic impulse, pure knowledge, okay, pure unbridled knowledge, but true wisdom is always tempered with love. Just a little esoteric knowledge for you. Now, she might be more on the Luciferic side, I don't know, but this sure does look like a forked tongue, doesn't it? Hollywood Reporter, one eye. She has a butterfly tattoo on her hand and 2 behind her ears, which can also represent transformation, or they can represent that good old monarch programming, if you know what I mean. Osiris rising, subtle one eye. New York Times with the black and white stripes for duality, some more subtle one eye. Emmy, one eye. CoverGirl, subtle one eye. More CoverGirl, one eye. Here's her book, Ladies First. Okay. On the cover of Waymaker, looking really tough. On the cover of More with a one eye. Essence, one eye. Here's some more one eye with a weird cross in the back and her doing that L. There's much more, but I'm out of time, but this speaks volumes right here. But just remember, you don't need to believe me because I'm just a silly lady on the internet that says, bears don't lie, people do. Bye.